Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Charlie Cat Presents. Today, I'm going to ask your help. I'm going to show you. I have a couple trays here of artifacts that I'm going to take close-ups of items, but that I found over the past couple years that I don't understand what they are, what their purpose was, and I'm hoping that the expertise that exists out there, that some of you can give me some suggestions as to what they might have been if they were complete. There's some broken, well, quite a few broken ones. There's some bones and prehistoric artifacts and historic period relics. There's one thing about going out hunting for artifacts and relics, whether it be in the field or whether you're out there in the metal detector digging, is that you never know what you're going to find. And I think that's a great attraction to everyone. But also that you find these items that are very mysterious that you don't understand. And so I think that's one thing that has been a special alluring factor to me over the years. Now, I never really used a metal detector. I had one. It was taken by my son, who I no longer have communication with, because he turned into a Satanist, but that's another story altogether. But I always went on gut feelings where to find Indian artifacts and where to find historic period relics. I would literally get a feeling in my stomach, or a kind of, I'm not sure how to express it, but I would know where to dig. And 99.99% of the time it turned out right. I remember one time my son, before he went in his oddball direction, told me it's almost as if the artifacts and relics are calling out to me to be found and letting me know where they are. And sometimes it does seem like that to me. Every place I've lived, except here right now, I have found artifacts and relics buried in the yard. And here I haven't, probably because I just have never dug, because it's a very small yard here, and it would be destructive to how it looks if I dug there. But anyways, it's enough rambling for me. Let's take a look at some of these curious and unusual artifacts and relics. With three pieces here to begin with, and some of these you may have seen on other videos when I actually found them out in the field, and this one was the subject of its own video, but I want to present it here again. This piece fascinates me. It's made out of porphyry, I believe is what it's called. It has, whatever it was ground into a rounded point there. Both sides were flattened. Very nice workmanship on it. And I've tried to extrapolate what this would have looked like complete, but I just can't figure out what it would have been. Now, could it have been a celt? I don't know. The way it widens here, if that carried on, it would be an awkward celt, I think. What do you think? I would love to hear your opinion on that piece. Now, here's another broken piece that fascinates me, because this is, I believe, granite. Okay, but this was obviously a disc, and you can see how it's nicely rounded, flattened on both sides, and it would have been a disc. But would it have been a gaming stone, or I don't know. I have no idea. But again, on this piece, I would really love to hear your opinion on what it could have possibly been. This stone looks lighter than it is in reality on the camera. It is a very dark greenish gray. Okay, now this one, which I said, it has been the subject of its own video, and I was perplexed. It is an arrowhead shape, but one of my viewers suggested that it would probably have been a hunting knife, and I can see that it could have been easily attached to a shaft on this end, and it would be very sharp. It would be too bulky for an arrowhead. My first guess was an arrowhead that was in production, but I have a feeling that viewer is probably correct in that it is some sort of a knife. but I'd love to have your opinion on it. It's an interesting piece. It was found by Gil Alberg on the Saginaw River bank near downtown West Side. So let me know what you think on that one, and let's take a look at a few other pieces here. Alright, here's a grouping of 3 more pieces. Let's go with the smaller one first. It has, to me, I consider it some sort of dual purpose stone because it's the same on this side as it is over here on this end, basically. And I could picture it being used as, to hammer something on either end. But I could be 100% really way off, and I probably am. I'm hoping that you might have some ideas. This is made of chert. It's a gray waxy chert. I don't see any nodular formation type signs in it, so it's probably a tabular chert. Probably Bayport tabular chert from the thumb area right here in Michigan. Let me know what you think. Then this piece, I feel it's a sharpening stone. You can see the striations in it. It is a very granular type stone. It's kind of hard to see the striations in it, but I can picture this being used as a sharpening stone. But then a lot of things get called sharpening stones that you find out in the field that may not have been. So on this, I'd like your opinion too. If you don't mind, I'd really love to hear what you have to say. Here, now, this has obviously been rounded. You can see where it's been ground down and rounded. This edge wasn't. This edge is extremely smooth. I could picture it being handheld and used for rubbing of some sort, maybe. This side is smooth. This side has not been touched. It could be a broken nutting stone. I don't think so, though, because it looks like it's complete. The way this edge is so squared, it's not a rough, broken edge. It's squared, it's smoothed. It could have been used that way. It could have been used, like that. It could have been actually used on its edge for grinding too. As you can see, there is quite a bit of wear pattern on the edge, like you'd find with a nutting stone. Might just be a different variety of nutting stone. So, all right, we're going to look at a few bigger pieces this time. This piece is interesting. It is rough on this side, okay? Very smooth on this side. It has been used for smoothing something. Now this side is concave, rounded, and I could see this possibly being used as a pottery trowel on the inside of a pot because they would be concave. Could it have also been used perhaps for, let's see, for work in tanning hides, but it was definitely, in my opinion, used in smoothing something. Let me know what you think. And here is another stone that could have been a sharpening stone. As you can see, though, the marks on here are much more concise or straight than on the other stone I showed you. And actually, you have the straight line going here, one cross line going here, and a cross line going here. So is this a sharpening stone? Are these plow marks? Or, as I've found in the past on a number of different things, is this some sort of prehistoric doodle, a message that we can't understand, but was of significance to the Indians that lived here? This was actually from a farm field here in Saginaw. I call it the Judge Albert Miller Homestead Site field. I should have told you on the other ones. Everything except the ones I identified so far, that knife, have been from that very field. But an interesting piece. This side is smooth, and it is a granular stone. This side is smooth. I don't think the edges show any work, and certainly the bottom does not. Just those interesting marks on the surface. Are they plow marks, or were they purposely put there? I'd like to see what you have to say. Okay, this piece is very heavy, and I have found a handful of mullers over the years, and I think that that's what this is. It was used on this side. Oh, that is heavy. Used on this side for grinding against a large mortar. It's not a beautiful artifact, but it is a telling artifact that in that they would use whatever they found lying about, without some with a high degree of modification and some with just a little modification, like this one. I believe this was purposely taken off, and that it was purposely that it probably was put into this shape, probably occurred with usage. I don't think they actually purposely ground it down. I think that shape occurred from it being used. This is, I believe, a really hard limestone. So let me know again what you think on that one. And a variety of pieces that perplex me a little bit. Let's start with this one. This is Bayport chert, most definitely. And it has been flaked down to an edge there, and also here. And it has some degree of pressure flaking along the edge to sharpen it. Flakes have been taken off. My feeling is that this is a handheld scraper, although it could have been hafted. Handheld scraper, perhaps. But, or even a small chopper to, chop things up. But this is the kind of piece that you find that really makes you wonder. It could have served any number of uses, actually, around the campfire. If I didn't say that, it's made of chert, gray chert, probably Bayport, and it's not a nice quality chert. This probably came from the outer core of a tabular chert or a nodular chert. And when I talk about nodular chert, let me show you this piece. See this here? That means that this piece actually came from a ball of chert, and the concretions formed in limestone. So, but anyways, having said that, so I know this is definitely Bayport nodular chert from the thumb area here in Michigan. But what is it? It could be a core that pieces had been struck off from to make to make arrowheads or what have you. None of the edges look like they've been modified. It just looks like pieces were struck off from it. I don't know. There again, do you think it's a core or something else? This piece. This I found actually at another site near the VA hospital here in Saigon, and it's chert. I don't think it's a local chert. It has been worked down, beveled down to the edge there. It's not been pressure flaked, but the edge here again is beveled here and then beveled again, and that same thing is done on both sides to make this a sharp edge. Too thick at this end to be, well, maybe not. I was going to say too thick at that end to be a celt, but I don't think it's a celt. It's too crude. Hand chopper. Could be used woodworking and chopping into wood to make a bowl or other kind of container. My guess, really, my gut feeling would be that it is for woodworking, but your guess is as good as mine, and I'd like to hear it. This is a really pretty piece of chert. It's waxy. It was a quality piece, but I believe this is core, because again, I don't see any edges that were modified to actually use as a device, possibly here. But I think it's a core. I've been told that when chert is waxy like this, I don't know if it shows on here, but it is a waxy look and feel, that it's been heat treated to make it stronger, more durable, the pieces that are taken from it. This just looks like a hunk of broken rock, doesn't it? But it is chert, and it's intriguing to me, because here is a blade. It has been purposely worked into that shape. It has been pressure flaked along its edge, and I can see being able to use it in this form, pressing down, that you would be able to put a lot of force on that blade and be able to make cuts in material. So I believe this is just a unique handheld knife, maybe you could even call it a thumb knife, because you definitely have to use your thumb to put the pressure down on it. So, interesting piece. Tell me what you think. And lastly of that lot is this one. It's in the shape of a celt, but this side has not been worked. Flip it over. It was sheared off from another piece. Presumably it looks like limestone, not the typical material for a celt. None of the edges have been sharpened. It is quite possible that this is just a stone that is just that, just a stone. I don't know. Again, what do you think? A lot of times we find on different sites these ball-shaped stones. This one is not perfectly rounded. This one is more so. But I believe they both have been worked. Some people say they're gaming stones. I say they could also be pot boilers. And what that means is they, around the campfires, the clay pots, the fired clay pots were very fragile. And when they had liquid in them, they couldn't be put directly into the fire to cook what was in the pot. So these stones were put into the campfire, heated up, removed with wooden tongs, and placed into the pot containing the liquid that you want to cook. And eventually it would get cooked using these pot boiler stones. My feeling, they could be that, or they could be gaming stone. But I'd like to hear your opinion on those also. Look, I got all this stuff left in the tray here, and I'm not going to probably bore you with all of it. Let's take a look at a couple historic period pottery pieces here. These were found on Ojibwa Island in a groundhog hole. That groundhog had kicked him out when he was, or she was, building her home. This is a base of a pot. Again, it's historic period. It is unglazed, and I cannot tell the era. I'm not an expert on historic period pottery. I can't tell the era, and hopefully maybe you can. The site there historically has had people transversing it since the late 1600s. So it could be colonial period or pre-colonial period. Very smooth, and very hard. It was fired really well. So let me know what you think on that one. Then this one, I was walking along the bank and found. It's unglazed, has a nice design in it. Didn't find any more of it. I've gone back and looked. Smooth on the inside, and I say inside because of the curvature. It's not a rim piece, just a really nice ornate piece, which could be as late as the Victorian era. I don't know. So if you know much about pottery, if you've seen this pattern before, please let me know. The other piece, unusual. It is steel, bent here, sharpened to a point. It has a leather, I believe, grip put on it, bound rather primitively. And it had a tie on it here. I believe it could have been hung on a belt or hung up in a, I don't know, it could be hung up though. What is it? Is it a can opener? I can't, it would work as a can opener, definitely. I'm thinking that it probably is from the 1830s, 1840s. But let me know what you think. It's interesting to have found it with these materials intact. So let me know what you think on that one. That's kind of a cool piece too. But you know what? I think I've shown you enough for this time. I will come back and show you more another time, because there is a lot more. So again, please let me know what you think. Any ideas on any of these pieces would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for taking the time to join me, your host, Dennis Morrison, on Charlie Cat Presents. God bless. Love you all. Stay well.